Everybody has a bullshitter in their life, right? And the key is like recognizing where that's in you. Okay. And I'm not really talking about the person that's like, and this can include this as well, but like there's people that exaggerate the truth, that bullshit their accomplishments, all kinds of stuff. But the one I'm talking about is the one that exaggerates, like actually bullshitting how good you are in an attempt to make both of you feel better. So this is like a give and take of energy that I want you to recognize occurring in your life. Because when it starts to occur, what you're going to hear is like somebody telling you like how good you are, how much you help them, right? And there's truth in it. It really is true. But what's occurring is also a stretch of the truth, an exaggeration of the truth, where you start to recognize like that feels manipulative, or like that's a lie. Like I know what's happening here, right? And there's different stages of where you'll fall here, because part of it, you might just start recognizing it. Like initially you won't recognize it. You'll probably feel better and you won't notice that the attempt that individual is projecting on you is actually taking energy from you, but you're allowing it because it's a vibrational match. You actually have the same, it's coming from an underlying like need to be seen, to feel better, from like lack of worth, from shame, deep-seated shame. And like you might not recognize yourself there because like you're just vibrating that differently, right? And so like it's actually an attempt to take your energy. And if you are vibrating that, that is successfully occurring. So a couple things to notice, like you will, and if you're listening, you probably are at the point where you can stay in your joy while this is happening. So because you're staying in your joy, you are actually really reflecting back to their projection. You are, I'm not sure what just came through, but you are actually reflecting back to them their actual shame and lack of worth. And that might seem to somebody who hasn't done like a lot of inner work or conscious work, it might seem kind of like icky or not feel good. But what is actually happening is like that's great for them to see in themselves. And if they don't see it now, they'll see it later. Okay? So what can happen along this kind of path and journey is that you get to a point where you start recognizing it. And then you start recognizing yourself and you feel it and you get to the beliefs and patterns and you kind of start to break through them. And then this occurs again and you meet up again. And as you're doing it, like, and this happens in all types of scenarios where you're staying in joy, you're not falling into other people's like projections anymore. Maybe you're feeling like empathy or compassion or understanding, which are all higher vibrations. So any of the residual that's in you is actually being alchemized because you're able to stay in those. So you don't have to go back into the analytical of like, ooh, where is this in me? Am I still this shameful? So you get to stay in your joy. And I know there was a point where I was like, I just feel so joyful that is this wrong, right? So there was that vibration of like, ooh, it was still there, but the joy and the compassion and everything you're feeling, because when you are in those higher levels, like as you hit empathy, compassion, understanding, compassion, love comes in there, joy, that completely alchemizes anything that you've had. So you can stay in that. And if you feel the pull to go into them, so this is like such a great segue for compassion, because it's a higher vibration. And your empathy is a really, really good thing as long as you're not absorbing what is coming at you. As long as you're like, ooh, I feel that, I understand that, I have compassion for that. That is giving them what they need, and it's protecting your energy without you having to physically protect it or like sit in meditation and like protect yourself before you go out, you know. So with that in mind, you get to stay in your joy. And eventually what happens is like you don't even notice it's happening. It's just you're so in joy you don't notice it, or you notice it and you notice it's theirs and not yours, right? Because it never was yours or theirs, really. It's just something we all grabbed onto. And it's such a joyful process to know that you're actually not doing harm when you're not responding or let's see what else is going on here. When you're not responding and you're just allowing it, it's actually a form of kindness. So that's higher on the scale too, that you just allow other people to be where they're at without judgment. And I'm telling you, it's so much fun. So what I'm going to ask you is to recognize your bullshitter, right? Where are you projecting that out and it's being reflected back to you, and how are you responding right now to that? In any ways, it doesn't have to be the same ways that I mentioned, but in any way, where are you doing that? And then how does it feel? How is it feeling when like you're up against that? Like, are you feeling like you're being manipulated? Are you feeling like you're being bullshitted? Like this is a lie? Right? Because as that person feels better, right, they're actually using your energy to feel better. And you're allowing it. But if you stay in your joy, they have no option but to feel it come back at them and be like, ooh, I can't take that energy anymore. I'm either going to have to look inside and be like, this is me, or I'm going to have to like go find somebody else, right? And talking about compassion, this is, like I said, it's such a great segue to compassion, because when we get in compassion, we get to really see, like the words that I want to use here are, it's just such a segue from like everything I've been chatting about live about like apathy, and this is really heading into grief. So I'm gonna like kind of go into it just in a touch, and then I know I'll be going more into like the grief segment later, but it just doesn't feel like that's completely coming through yet. So when we talk about compassion, this is where, so I will segue into grief, and then that will bring this forward better later. When we are compassionate for somebody's loss, right, whatever that is, but we'll talk about loss of life, like your compassion is such a gift. Such a gift that you get to feel. Like that you understand and you feel, and there's love in that. There's so much love in your compassion. So when somebody says to you that they lost a loved one, and you feel, you guys, I see all these invites and things like that. I'm just learning live. So I'm not ignoring you. I think this is amazing, but I'm just kind of learning how to do this. My first TikTok live, and I'm telling you, like, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Like, I'm excited to do this. But once I learn some more, I'll actually like be answering questions, and I will be like, whatever is happening happens. So so many things are coming through, and you get to be in a state that is one of the most loving states that you can be in. And when we talk about compassion, yes, it is on different aspects of the frequency scale. So you can be like an empathy and like we mentioned before, and like understanding and reason, and then love and joy. I have the ability now to actually sit in spaces where people are sharing like their most like worst things that are happening in their lives. And I can be in such a state of love and joy that I have tears of joy rolling down my face, right? That is the part of me, right? That source part that is able to just stay in a high vibration while people are sharing their crap, their bullshit, right? And that doesn't mean that all of me has accomplished that yet. I still have fractal versions. I still have these pieces that still feel these lower vibrations that we're talking about alchemizing, right? So being in compassion, being in understanding, just understanding that somebody else without judgment is bullshitting or manipulating or lying to you because they have patterns and programs and conditioning that are bringing that through. That's enough to start alchemizing it for you. And then if it's feeling you, like if it's touching you, if somebody is doing that and you're feeling it and you're like, ugh, or later on you feel drained, then you know that you have that same vibration. So feel into where you're doing this in your life. Let me know where you're doing this in your life. Let me know like where you're at, if you're able just to stay and it doesn't touch you, or if it's touching you, you know. And we will go more into grief, and we will go more into like actually some more juicy things. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm so excited that I get to be on here live. I just have gotten to the point where I have enough followers to go live, and I want to keep that up. So if there's things you want to hear about, reach out. I'm open to doing this and loving it, and I'm just having such a good time in life and being able to share with you guys. So you know what? That's where I'm going to end. I have to learn on camera how to shut this off, so bear with me. I'm going to stay in joy and see how to get off here, and I really don't see how to do that. Thank you guys for being patient with me and watching me kind of increase my capacity for growth right online as I'm doing this. If anybody wants to tell me how I log off here, that would be fantastic. Do I just hit stop somewhere? Okay, I found it. I love you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me share with you. Have the best day.